The story opens with SEAL Team 7 conducting a parachute training exercise in San Diego, California. This elite American military unit consists of 7 highly skilled members. The scene then shifts to Manila, Philippines, where a yellow ice cream truck speeds through the bustling city streets, driven by an unidentified man. Inside the truck, a woman sits beside him, her face filled with anxiety. Soon, the ice cream truck pulls into the parking lot of an international elementary school. At the same time, the U.S. ambassador to the Philippines arrives in his official vehicle to pick up his child. Shortly after, the excited students rush toward the truck, eager to buy ice cream. The ambassador's child, delighted by the sight, pleads with his father to buy some. Indulging his child's request, the ambassador agrees. However, a massive explosion suddenly rips through the scene. The man who had been driving the ice cream truck flees the area in haste. Moments later, another explosion devastates the International Elementary School, sending shockwaves through global news outlets, including in the United States. Reports confirm that the U.S. ambassador and his child, along with numerous school children, were killed in the attack. No terrorist group steps forward to claim responsibility for the bombing. Elsewhere in Southeast Asia, the mastermind behind the attack is seen hiding in a training camp in Indonesia. The film then introduces 2 members of SEAL Team 7, Lieutenant Rourke and Dave. During their conversation, Rourke shares the joyous news that his wife is expecting a child. Dave and other bar patrons congratulate him, celebrating the occasion. Later, Rourke invites Dave and his family to join the rest of SEAL Team 7 on a beach getaway. The next scene moves to Costa Rica, where a doctor named Lisa Morales is introduced. She is accompanied by a man named Cristo, who is warmly greeted by the local children. That night, Morales meets with her colleague, Walter Rose. It is revealed that both Morales and Walter Rose are undercover CIA agents investigating Cristo, who turns out to be the leader of an international drug cartel. Not only that, Morales' findings suggest that he is also linked to the Abu Sabal terrorist network operating in Southeast Asia. As they exchange information, their cover is blown. Cristo's men have discovered their true identities. The next morning, while staying at a hotel, Morales and Walter Rose find themselves under attack as Cristo's men storm into their room, leaving them with no choice but to fight for survival. Despite this, Morales, now completely helpless, is taken by Cristo's men to their headquarters, where she is tortured and interrogated. That evening, SEAL Team 7 gathers at the beach with their families. The scene introduces the remaining members of the team, apart from Rourke and Dave. The team's intelligence officer, responsible for gathering field information, is Miller, a senior member of SEAL Team 7. There's also the sniper, Wayme, Mickey, who manages the team's communications and radio operations, Ajay, and lastly, Sonny. While they are enjoying their time together, SEAL Team 7 receives an urgent mission to rescue Morales, who has been taken hostage by Cristo. As a result, they bid farewell to their families and depart for Costa Rica the next morning. That night, at the hostage camp deep in the Costa Rican jungle, Cristo's men brutally torture Morales in an attempt to extract her identity and the details of her mission. Over a phone call, Cristo reveals that he already knows who she really is and has been aware of her investigation. Morales' cover is completely blown, yet she refuses to confirm anything. As a result, the torture intensifies. Meanwhile, in the jungle, SEAL Team 7 gathers for a briefing with their senior chief. Based on intelligence gathered through a drone surveillance operation conducted earlier, Morales is confirmed to be held at a jungle camp in Costa Rica. Later, Senior Chief informs the team that Morales and Walter Rose are CIA agents. However, only Morales survived the attack at the hotel in Costa Rica, and she is now in captivity, being tortured by Cristo's men. It was revealed that Cristo is a notorious crime lord who has been smuggling drugs and illegal weapons across multiple countries since the late 90s. Before her capture, Morales was investigating Cristo's connections to a Southeast Asian terrorist network known as Abu Sabal. Abu Sabal was responsible for the bombing of the International Elementary School in Manila, Philippines, which resulted in the death of the U.S. ambassador and several schoolchildren. He is currently hiding in training camps in Indonesia and the Philippines. As a result, Morales was abducted, held hostage, and tortured by Cristo because she dared to spy on his operations. Given the severity of the situation, Senior Chief orders Lieutenant Rourke and his 6 team members to launch a rescue mission that very night. The operation begins as SEAL Team 7 is deployed via military aircraft. Under the cover of darkness, the team parachutes into the dense jungle of Costa Rica, their designated target area. Once safely on the ground, they move cautiously through the terrain, making their way toward their first checkpoint while remaining alert for enemy ambushes. Upon reaching their initial target location, Lieutenant Rourke contacts their command center to report their position and receive further instructions. They are directed to proceed to the final location, the stronghold where Morales is being held and tortured by Cristo's men. Additionally, SEAL Team 7 is informed that a rapid response extraction unit will arrive at the designated pickup point at 6 a.m. the next morning. With their orders clear, the team immediately advances toward their objective, prepared for the intense mission ahead. At dawn, 2 Chinook helicopters transport the Navy SEAL Quick Reaction Team along with their combat boats, which will be used to extract SEAL Team 7 at the designated pickup point. Armed with advanced and lethal weaponry, as well as unmanned aerial surveillance for reconnaissance, the Quick Reaction Team moves swiftly toward the extraction site. Before launching the assault, the SEAL team ensures their communication systems are fully linked with the Quick Reaction Unit to guarantee a seamless operation. Inside the hostage camp, Morales is in a dire state, visibly weakened from prolonged captivity. SEAL Team 7 divides their tasks. Lieutenant Rourke and Wamey position themselves at a distance, utilizing sniper rifles and drone surveillance, while Dave leads the remaining team members in a direct assault on the camp. With their specialized combat tactics and rigorous training, the team moves in from multiple directions, catching their enemies off guard. SEAL Team 7 successfully eliminates all of Cristo's men, but during the intense battle, Mickey is severely injured in the eye and loses consciousness. Meanwhile, Morales remains in critical condition, barely holding on. From his vantage point, Lieutenant Rourke spots an approaching reinforcement of terrorists coming to aid Cristo. He immediately relays this intelligence to Dave and the Quick Reaction Team, urging them to evacuate swiftly and rendezvous at the extraction point. What follows is a high-stakes chase and an intense firefight between SEAL Team 7 and enemy forces. Despite the overwhelming threat, the Quick Reaction Team successfully extracts SEAL Team 7 and rescues Morales. Moments later, Mickey regains consciousness, though his left eye remains covered with bandages due to his injuries. In the end, the team is safely transported aboard the Chinook helicopters and flown back to their base. The scene then shifts to Ukraine, where Abu Sabal arrives at a warehouse used for manufacturing and assembling explosive devices for future bombings. He is briefed on their latest weaponry, a new type of bomb vest with an extremely high explosive yield. These vests are specifically designed for open-area attacks and remain undetectable by metal detectors. After inspecting the bomb production facility, Abu Sabal meets with Cristo. Their relationship extends beyond mere business. They are close allies who assist each other in their respective operations. During their conversation, Cristo confesses that he is now under CIA surveillance, leaving him with no means of further evasion. He informs Abu Sabal that he can no longer escape and join him in his war against the U.S. government. This revelation infuriates Abu Sabal, leading to a heated argument between the two. Meanwhile, aboard a U.S. Navy warship off the coast of Central America, Lieutenant Rourke and Dave receive a briefing from their senior chief regarding their next mission. Intelligence reports indicate that Abu Sabal is plotting an attack against American citizens, and Cristo possesses the means to smuggle him and his bombers' threat into the United States. To counter this, Senior Chief assigns specific roles. Ajay and Ray are deployed to Africa, as intelligence suggests that Abu Sabal is trafficking bomb vest materials through this route before smuggling them into western Mexico and eventually into the U.S. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Rourke and the remaining team members remain stationed in the United States, prepared to launch an operation should any terrorist factions attempt to breach American territory. Shortly after, Senior Chief and SEAL Team 4 set out for the South Pacific to capture Christo and extract crucial information from him. Meanwhile, Ajay and Ray were deployed to the African coast. Their mission was to rendezvous with an American submarine, where they would receive further instructions from the captain. Once on board, the captain briefed them on their task to infiltrate enemy territory and gather intelligence on Abu Sabal's arms transfer operation. The mission commenced, and Ajay and Ray made their way to the Somali coastline. During their reconnaissance, they observed an aircraft landing, followed closely by 3 vehicles heading toward a meeting point. Shortly after, another unidentified aircraft touched down. From a distance, they could see cargo being unloaded, suspected to be bomb vests belonging to Abu Sabal, along with refueling operations for the aircraft. Without delay, Ray and Ajay relayed their findings to the command center aboard the American warship stationed off the Central American coast. Intelligence revealed that 2 of Abu Sabal's planes were en route to Cedros Island off the coast of Mexico. Meanwhile, in the South Pacific, Christo and his men came under attack by SEAL Team 4, executing Senior Chief's strategic plan. Once the area was secure, Senior Chief confronted Christo and began interrogating him. Under pressure, Christo disclosed that 16 terrorists were preparing to carry out vest bombings in major U.S. cities, including San Diego, San Francisco, and Houston. The bomb was designed to evade detection at border checkpoints, making them nearly impossible to intercept. Abu Sabal's ultimate goal was to create chaos, instill fear in the American public, and cripple the U.S. economy, an attempt to replicate the terror of the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City. Armed with this intelligence, Rourke and Dave mobilized SEAL Team 7 to Cedros Beach on the Mexican coast to intercept the terrorists before they could reach American soil. Upon arrival, they moved into a residential area identified as a terrorist hideout. A firefight erupted when a local woman spotted the team and screamed, alerting the enemy. Despite the resistance, SEAL Team 7, highly trained and tactically superior, managed to eliminate the threat. During the raid, Rourke and Dave discovered several unused bomb vests. Shortly after, Command informed Rourke that the terrorists they had just neutralized were only half of Abu Sabal's group. The remaining operatives, including Abu Sabal himself, were at that moment making their way across the border via a tunnel beneath a dairy factory in Mexicali. Intelligence confirmed that they would reach the border by 7 a.m. local time. With no time to waste, Rourke and his team received orders to intercept them and were immediately deployed to the Mexicali border. Upon their arrival, Rourke and his team met with Pedros, a commander of the Mexican Special Forces. The 2 units had joined forces to combat a dangerous terrorist group. Pedros warned Rourke that this operation would be extremely difficult, as their target was located in a perilous area controlled by heavily armed criminals who vastly outnumbered them. Despite the risks, they proceeded toward the target location. Upon reaching their destination, the teams stormed into the factory, swiftly neutralizing several guards stationed there. However, Abu Sabal and his forces, realizing the attack, quickly retreated into an underground tunnel. With no other choice, the Allied forces split into groups. Rourke and Dave, along with several Mexican Special Forces members, pursued Abu Sabal, while the remaining soldiers secured the perimeter to fend off enemy reinforcements. As enemy troops continued to arrive, an intense firefight erupted. Bullets flew from all directions in a brutal battle. After narrowly surviving the vest bombing, Lieutenant Rourke and his team pushed forward into the final chamber leading to the tunnel. But tragedy struck. Lieutenant Rourke sacrificed his life to save his fellow soldiers. Ultimately, the team succeeded in eliminating Abu Sabal and his entire faction, though Dave sustained a gunshot wound. Despite their victory, the cost was heavy. Lieutenant Rourke had given his life for his team. The scene then shifts to America, where Lieutenant Rourke was honored with a full military funeral for his dedication and sacrifice. His casket was carried by his comrades from SEAL Team 7, except for Dave, who was confined to a wheelchair due to his injury. Grief enveloped the attendees, but none felt the loss more deeply than Rourke's pregnant wife. In recognition of her husband's heroism, she was presented with a national flag on behalf of the president, a solemn tribute to Rourke's ultimate sacrifice and service to his country. Months passed, and Rourke's wife, now a mother, sat with their newborn child, reading a letter her late husband had written before his death. The letter emphasizes to live a life where the fear of death never enters your heart. Respect other people's religions, respect other people and their views, and ask them to respect your views. Love your life, perfect your life, beautify everything in your life. Try to live long and serve your country. When the time of death comes, do not be like those whose hearts are filled with the fear of death, so that when they feel it coming, they cry and pray all the time to live forever and be no different. Sing your death song and fall like a hero returning home. And with those final words, the film comes to an end. Moral lesson from the story: always check your ice cream truck before selling to kids, or you might accidentally start an international crisis. Also, if you're a spy, maybe don't meet your colleague in a hotel room with thin walls. The bad guys have great hearing.